Today, I want to talk to you about the current pandemic and 5 important symptoms of the COVID-19 virus you need to be aware and mindful of. Stay tuned to learn more. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Growth Philosophy Podcast, a bite-sized weekly podcast focused on empowering you to think better and upgrade your life. So let's talk about the pandemic virus. Originally I was planning to do a talk about health today, a follow-up on my last talk, but some recent events made me rethink that. There is something else that needs to be addressed more immediately, especially with Christmas and the year-end around the corner, so the talk on health will have to wait for a bit. Instead, I want to talk to you today about the current coronavirus pandemic and the 5 important symptoms you need to watch out for. Having this knowledge and clarity is an important part of personal safety, as confusion about the symptoms cause a lot of unnecessary stress. Feelings of worry, sadness and frustration have been rising all over the world, and that's not a good thing, neither personally nor collectively as a society. Confusion and misinformation about the COVID-19 virus plays a big role in causing all that stress and unhappiness, so this is a topic that is essential to have some clarity on. And there is another side to it, a more personal one. It really concerns me when I see people jumping to wrong conclusions based on incorrect or incomplete information. It's like hypochondria of the mind, jumping to conclusions at breakneck speed as a result of fear. When that happens, it only causes more problems, and not just for the person involved. So this information is important to have. And I've had a few personal experiences of this recently. Moreover, stories about the negative impact of the virus on the well-being of families and individuals are all over the web. So you can see for yourself the way it is negatively affecting lives. One instance though that really made an impression on me was this piece I read about a 76-year-old nurse who died of the virus. And her family were not allowed to see her to say their goodbyes because of a potential risk of infection. Situations like that are really sad. At the end of the day, there is no denying the fact that the COVID-19 virus is dangerous. Absolutely, it is dangerous. But here's the thing. The virus itself isn't as dangerous as the lack of information or misinformation about the virus. It's like how a panicked stampede over a fire breaking out in a public place can end up injuring or even killing more people than the fire itself might. The fear can cause more damage than the thing itself. Fear-based reactions like that are often the result of lack of clarity or confusion. And when it comes to the current pandemic, one of the biggest sources of confusion is about the symptoms of the COVID-19 virus and what to watch out for. So let's address this important fact and review the essential symptoms you actually need to keep in mind. Now, when it comes to the actual symptoms, people who have been infected with the COVID-19 virus have been reported to have several different symptoms, often varying based on the intensity ranging from mild to severe cases. If you wanted to aggregate all the potential symptoms, it'll end up being a big list, which is one of the reasons why there's a lot of confusion about what to watch out for. So in order to cut through the noise, I've been researching and reviewing the information from reputable sources like the National Health Organization of England, Public Health England, the CDC, the WHO and Johns Hopkins University, and I found that there are 5 main COVID-19 symptoms that you need to be aware of. And here they are. The first one is continuous coughing. So new and continuous coughing, where there is a lot of coughing for over an hour or several coughing episodes within a 24-hour period. So continuous and severe coughing, that's the first one to watch out for. The second one is fever. Fever with a high temperature of above 37.8 degrees. So 37.8 degrees Celsius and above fever, that's the second one to watch out for. The third one to watch out for is respiratory issues. So new instances of respiratory problems or breathing difficulties. And the new aspect is important to note here, because if you have a history of breathing problems like many people who suffer from asthma do, then it doesn't make sense to panic every time you have breathing problems. And this applies to the other symptoms too. So new instances of breathing problems. That's the third one to watch out for. The fourth one is smell, or change or loss in your ability to smell. The fifth one is taste, change or loss in your ability to taste. So remember these 5: continuous coughing, high fever, respiratory issues, smell or change in loss in your ability to smell, and change or loss in your ability to taste. Most people with the COVID-19 virus have at least one of these 5 symptoms. So this is a useful and important list to keep in mind. Remember these 5 symptoms. And to help make it easier for you to remember them, I created an acronym, which is CFRST, pronounced C first. So that's C for continuous coughing, F for fever, R for respiratory problems, and S and T for the loss or change in the ability to smell or taste. So CFRST. If you have any of these 5 symptoms, then you should consult a doctor, especially if they persist or get worse. But otherwise, don't panic or worry yourself, as the worry will only harm you and not help. These 5 symptoms are essential to understand, as a lot of the worry related to COVID-19 stems from misunderstanding what symptoms to actually take note of. Seriously, not every headache is COVID-19, so do not worry yourself every time you have any sort of minor health issue. It's okay. Not everything will lead to COVID-19. This year, 2020, has been defined by the COVID-19 pandemic, but it doesn't have to define your life. Yes, it has changed how we do things and even how we live our lives, but it doesn't have to take over our lives, or worse, negatively impact our happiness and peace of mind. It has impacted how things work, but it doesn't have to impact how we feel. This is one of the reasons why it is essential to be well informed about the virus and to have clarity about what to watch out for. Having this clarity can help you look after yourself and others, as well as take precautions to better protect yourself and the people you care about. But at the very least, this clarity about the 5 symptoms can help you avoid unnecessary stress and anxiety. This list of 5 symptoms is by no means a comprehensive list of all the symptoms of the virus, especially since more are being noted even now. Even the largest health bodies in the world, like the CDC and the WHO, are still updating their lists as we continue to learn more about this virus and its behavior. So this is not comprehensive. That said, these 5 symptoms, the CFRST symptoms, are the major and obvious ones to note, based on the information from the major health bodies and organizations. These symptoms, based on the information that I've gathered, 85% of the COVID-19 patients demonstrate at least one of these 5 symptoms. So this is a very important list and a very useful list to keep in mind. Also, 5 is much simpler to remember than, say, 15. So just keep the 5 in mind. CFRST. If you or someone you know has one or more of these 5 symptoms, then get in touch with your doctor. Otherwise, take care of your health and well-being and carry on with your life. That said, if you're still worried, or if you're feeling really ill, then use a coronavirus symptoms checker tool to figure out if there is something to be worried about, like the one on CDC's website. Using a tool like that is much better than losing sleep over whether you have the virus or not. So if you're still worried, use a tool to figure out if there is something worth worrying about. On that note, based on the city or country you live in, there will very likely be local medical helplines that you can call to get more information and even pre-screening. So look into that if you or someone you know shows symptoms of the virus. It's important to be careful and look after your health. But that said, being anxious about every little health issue can actually do you more harm than good. It's a balancing act. You have to take into account what actually matters rather than being worried about everything. So stop worrying every time you get a headache or sneeze in public. Just sneezing or getting a headache is not indicative of anything major. It is not. It hasn't been for hundreds of years, and it doesn't now. Take note of the symptoms that actually matter and stop needlessly worrying about every little thing. If you're still in doubt, get medical advice. Being calm is very important, now more than ever. So educate yourself in order to take proper care of yourself and others, as well as to stop needless worries. Look after your health, both physical and mental. Stay safe and stay sane.